Hello people, today we are going to learn how to use if function with wildcards. So what is a wildcard? A wildcard is a symbol used to replace or represent one or more character. So what are some of the common types of wildcards that we have? The first common type we have is the asterisk, and then we also have the question mark wildcard. So today we are going to begin with the asterisk. So the asterisk is a wildcard which is used to mean any number of characters. So we are going to learn how we can use asterisk as a wildcard with if function. Asterisk can be used in at least three different ways. So in the first case, we are going to use asterisk to find a given character or a text string within this particular company names. So for example, if we want to find if we have a company name which is beginning with the letter A, then we can use this particular formula. So you just activate the cell through equal sign, then you type in count if bracket, then range. So range, you will just click on this first name for the first company, then you have your comma. Now for the criteria, you'll open your quotation marks. Then because we want to check if a given name of a company is beginning with a letter A, then we just write our letter A. After we've written our letter A, then we place our asterisk. Once we place the asterisk, then we close the quotation marks just to make sure that whatever is within is a text. Then we can close the bracket. So what this means is that we are checking as long as the name of the company is beginning with the letter A, then we should have 1 being displayed. If it is false, then we should have 0 being displayed. So when now we click on enter, we have 1 being displayed, and that is true because when you check at this company's name, Avex Pro, it is beginning with the letter A. So we want to replicate that down. Just click at that part. Now you see Avex begins with letter A, so it's displaying 1, that is true. For the second one, CDC Express doesn't begin with the letter A, so it is displaying 0, that's okay. Now let's check at this. Alvasi begins with A, so it is displaying 1, that is okay. So now we are going to look at the second way in which you can use asterisk. This time round, we will now want to check if a given company's name has the letter A at the end of it. So it's simple. It's pretty much the same formula as we used, just except that we'll do a few changes here and there. So equal sign, count if, bracket. So we have that range. This time round, quotation marks, but this time round we'll begin with asterisk. Now that simply means that we are going to accept any characters, any nature of characters, as long as the last letter after those characters is A. Then you have your quotation marks, and then you close your bracket. So we are checking if our company name has the letter A at the end of it. So you click on enter. Now that's displaying 0, meaning that false. It means that Avex Pro does not have the letter A at the end of it. So if we replicate that down, then you realize that we only have one of such, and that is Canva. And that is true because for Canva, it has the letter A at the end of it all. Now, the last way in which we can use asterisk is that we can just come, check it at the formula, but we can just come and insert another asterisk just before the last quotation marks. Now, when you insert it in such a way, it simply means that we are checking for a character A anywhere within a given text or a text string. In this case, we are going to check within the various company names and search for the letter A anywhere at any given position, either at the beginning or at the end or in the middle. So when you click on enter, now that's showing 1 because we have the letter A there at the beginning. Now let's get it down. So this one is showing 0 for CDC Express because it does not contain the letter A at any given part within that name. Now XM plus displaying 1 true to mean that we have a letter A there towards the end. Canva, we have 2 letters A, that is just after the beginning and at the end. And then we also have the same for Sunset Organizers and the RTC Transporters. So that is how we use asterisks as a wildcard. Now the next thing that we're going to check on is how to use another wildcard called the question mark. Now a question mark is a wildcard which is used to represent a single character. So how are we going to use a question mark? Very simple. When we check at this particular column, you see the various job IDs that we have. Now, this particular job ID, so the job code, for my case, they should be having a total of 9 digits, so 9 characters for that matter. So my work is to check whether all of the values in this particular range are having 9 characters. So what will I do? It's simple. I'll come to a given cell like this and then activate the cell through equal sign. Then I'll just click on count if bracket. So that range was supposed to be this whole range. So once you have the whole range, just lock it with P plus F4. Once you have the whole range, then you're going to now check within the whole range of the job IDs, the ones which do not contain 9 characters. So when now you click enter, now it's giving you 3. It means that within this range, 3 of the job IDs do not contain 9 characters. So the other way in which we can look at it, now if you want to find the ones which contain 9 characters, you just do away with this not equal sign. Now when you click on enter, now you realize that 7 of them are containing 9 characters. Now we can also use conditional formatting to actually have that visual impression on the number of cells that do not contain these 9 characters. So what you do is very simple. You just highlight that range and then you come here to conditional formatting. Then you can come to new rule. So once you come to new rule, you can say use a formula to determine which cell to format. Then once you do so we want to the formula we're going to use is count if. Once we type in count if bracket, we begin from this particular column, but then we'll ensure that we lock the column but we don't lock the row. Then we have our comma, then a quotation mark. So we are counting if it doesn't contain 9 characters. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then we have our quotation marks there. Then we close our bracket. So once we have that, then we are going to format. So where that formula is true, we are going to format. So you come to fill, then you choose maybe a color like, let's say you choose a color like this one. You may want to adjust it to make a little bit less bright. I'll choose that. Okay. So now when you click on OK, then now we're able to pick out those cells which did not contain 9 characters. And in this case, they're actually containing characters greater than 9. Now you may want to maybe also have the highlight across the entire table. Just highlight the region where you applied the conditional formatting. Then you click on that, then you choose on manage rules. Then you'll be able to, at this particular section, apply to. When you click on this arrow, you can just choose the whole of your table so that you can apply it to the whole of that range. So you click on OK, then you have it being shown across the table. So that's how we can use question mark to check for the number of characters in a given cell. So let's get to the next level. So this time around, we would want to use wildcard to display a given station in which a given individual is working based on the employee's ID. So you just say equal sign, then you type in if bracket. So we are going to get our logical test. So this is our logical test. So count if, another bracket, So we are going to count if. Now within the employee's ID, then you have a comma, then you have a quotation mark. Now we are going to search for a text string ABC, which is actually this particular code for Belgium. So we are going to search for a text string ABC within the employee's ID. So you have your asterisk, then you have your string ABC, then you have another asterisk, then you close your quotation marks, then you close that bracket. That way now you've done with the logical test. So when you have your comma, so the value is true. So if this code or if this text string ABC can be detected within the employee's ID to mean value if true, then we should actually have the station Belgium being displayed. You have two options. You can go ahead and just type in quotation mark, you type in Belgium, then alternatively you can just come and link or rather reference this cell, and that's what I would actually advocate for. It's much easier to reference the cells. So just make sure that you log that so that that particular reference is absolute. Now when you have your comma, so the value is false. If it is false, then we would want nothing being displayed. So now when you click on enter, then we have Belgian as a station being displayed. And that is true because this Bernard Mendoza, within the employee's ID, we have a text string ABC being displayed, and for ABC, then the station should be ABC as a code, then the station should be Belgium. So when you replicate this for the rest of the cells, then you realize that only two of them are working in Belgium, and that is Bernard Mendoza. ABC as a text string is appearing within the employee's ID, and Frederico Rio, ABC also appearing within the employee's ID. So if you wanted to change the same to, let's say you want to find the people who are working at a station in, let's say, South Korea, then you just come and change this text string and you change it to DKG, which should be the code for South Korea. And then you also need to change your reference to we would want South Korea. If that is true, lock it through in P plus F4. Now when you click on enter and you drag it down, then we are able to find that this mean your his employee's ID contains the code DKG, so it means that he works at a station in South Korea. Now let's take it to the next level. We may also want to find out the continents in which someone is working. So for example, if you want to find the people who are working in Europe as a continent, or those who are working in Asia as a continent, in this case let's use those who are working in Europe as a continent. So here we're going to introduce an OR function, and that's how we do it. Why OR? Because for Europe, you can see that we have two stations in Europe, and that is Belgium and England. So it means we must introduce an OR function there. So equal sign if bracket or bracket count if bracket. So we are going to count if within the employee's ID, comma, we have, so you can just go ahead and have curly bracket there. So if within the employee's ID we have, let's have that, and let's have asterisk. So if we have, for example, the first one for Europe, there should be text string ABC. So if we have ABC as a code within the employee's ID, or if also we have for England, that should be called FEG. Now if those conditions are met, we can have our curly bracket, then we close using two brackets, comma, then the continent which should be displayed in this case is Europe. So you can either type in Europe in between quotation marks or just link the cells. In my case, I will link the cell, lock it through, we'll keep plus F4. Value if false, we would want nothing displayed. And now when you click on enter, we have Europe being displayed. You can replicate that down. So we are going to find the a number of people who are working in Europe, and that is true because Belgium is a station in Europe. Belgium also a station in Europe. Then this is FEG, England, which is also a station in Europe. So that is correct. So that is how we use wildcards in various ways in Microsoft Excel. I hope you have enjoyed this particular video. Now, in the description part of this, I'm going to give a link that will give you access to these particular working files so that you can train for yourself. Thank you so much for joining.